Radio, everyone. We're so happy you're here with us this morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And Misty Tripoli, she's a dear friend of mine. I believe she's in Mexico right now, and she has some really cool stuff going on. And what I love about this woman is she lives and breathes her intuition and moves her body as she's doing it. And she has something called the World Groove Movement. And she's been doing this for, God, I want to say like 20 years. She'll tell you. And we actually start diving into her story. And she has a really actually incredible story. So I think I really need to give it to her at this moment to really introduce herself, because she's just been through so much and made some really powerful choices from love that have really just helped us all be reached by her work and so many more people. So, Misty, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, I'm not sure all of what my story you want me to share, or from where, or from like the beginning, or just kind of the creation of the World Group Movement.
Yeah, I mean, really how you really felt your intuition and started listening to it. And I know you just made some powerful choices around, like, you had a contract with Nike, then Facebook found out about you, and you just went big. Not necessarily fast, but because you followed your intuition, it built such a solid foundation that now is sustainable. And that's what I think is so beautiful about building from this place, from the inside out, is you're really working with the universe, right, within and around you, and attracting that sustainability and coming from that place of service. So I really think your connection point to intuition would be amazing to share, and how following that has really helped you be who you are today.
Okay, great. Well, when I first kind of tuned into my intuition and started actually listening to it, because it was always there that, oh, I shouldn't do that, or I should do that, that kind of thing. But just thinking that was part of me, as being kind of a Libra person that couldn't make up her mind. And is it this, is it that, and wishy-washy, and I can't make up my mind, and not really knowing what it was. And at the same time, I was really quite an unconscious person. Like, I was the Walking Dead. Like, I was on autopilot, living my life, trying to keep up, doing my job, paying my bills, in debt, obsessed with my body, and trying to be perfect. And that all kind of came to a culmination in that big, huge point when I was living in Los Angeles. Now, like you said, keep in mind, I was at the top of my game in Los Angeles. I was one of the #1 fitness instructors, and managing a chain of health clubs, and designing programs, and choreographing for shows, but I was so unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like, I was the most unhealthy person I knew, inside my mind, body, spirit, all of it. I was bulimic. I had been suffering bulimia for 16 years. I've been throwing up 3 or 4 times a day. And it all really came to a point when I was in my early 30s, like 31-ish, 32-ish. And it was really absolutely profound, because a lot of people have these slow waves of awakening and epiphanies and shifts in their consciousness and awareness, where they get those aha moments, and they get those epiphanies that change their lives, because they understand something in a second, and they're like, oh, and it gives them relief and peace. Well, what happened to me was, after a bout of throwing up, not only that was it throwing up, I was obsessive compulsive about exercise and fitness and all of this, but I was unhealthy, and I was toxic on every level. But on the outside, I'd put up the facade that I was perfect, and everyone, I had it all together. No one would have known. Like, I was married for 8 years. My husband never knew I had bulimia. I was a master at hiding everything. And so I had been through a bout of throwing up. And I couldn't just make myself throw up. So I'd drink syrup of Epcac. So I would drink a bottle of Epcac syrup, and it would make me violently throw up until I threw up blood. And I wouldn't be satisfied till the blood was up, because then I knew everything was gone, and then I wouldn't have to worry about the calories. And I mean, we're talking sick obsession, because I was literally killing myself, because I was throwing up blood pretty much every day. And I remember, after a bout of throwing up, and it was exhausting to do it, I passed out on the bathroom floor. And I woke up in kind of just a pool of my own vomit and blood, and there was vomit all over my bathroom, and it just smelled, and I don't know how long I'd been there. And normally I would get up and do it again. If there was any food left in my house, I would do another round. And in that moment, it was just like this big bam, this thing hit me that was just like, is this as good as it's going to get? Like, is this it for me? Like, am I ever going to love myself? Am I ever going to accept myself? Am I ever going to be okay with who I am? Am I ever gonna be okay with my relationship with food? Am I ever gonna be a normal human being? Am I ever, and it just all this is as good as it gets. And then it started, this voice, that intuitive voice started to talk to me and started to say things like, you weren't you weren't born to suffer, and you were not born to hate yourself. And I started to heat into that. And that was just kind of this knowingness that started to come through me. But this intuitiveness came through me and started basically guiding me to sit down and be quiet, which was when I started my meditation practice. So only a couple days after this bout, something just was yearning at me to just sit down and be quiet. So I started to heat it and could sit for maybe a minute at a time, and my mind would scatter and go everywhere, but I would force myself to sit. And I realized that's how I created my meditation practice. But I didn't know what I was doing at all. Like, I just would sit and watch my mind go crazy. And then I had this big, powerful bam one day when I realized, if I'm watching my thoughts, then I'm not my thoughts. And I was like, well, then what am I? And I started asking bigger and bigger questions. And this voice was just, and this information, I just felt like I was receiving so much information. And then one day, another big day hit. And that's when the illusion of this third dimension completely fell in front of me. Like, in one day, I realized I'd been lied to since I was born. I realized I believed everything I've ever been taught. I've never questioned anything. I don't even know who I am. Like, what's my name? Like, who am I? What am I? What is this? And that unraveling that happened in one day, I really couldn't leave my house for like 2 weeks because I actually couldn't talk to people. It's like I couldn't understand what they were saying because I realized so much of what we talk about is just bullshit and just fluff. And I was just like, and anything I wanted to talk about was just like this power, this information and wave of truth that was coming over me, and applying it to my life and what that looked like. And nothing was the same. My friends all changed. Everything changed because it didn't fit into that same frequency anymore. And everyone just started saying, Misty, wow, Misty is still out there. And it got really lonely, but I was never alone. Like, it was lonely because all my friends couldn't relate to me anymore. And they were like, I was saying weird shit and stuff like that. But this voice just kept telling me that I was just like, just telling, and it was just telling me what to do. It was really interesting. And the next wave of things that came back, because I was already a dancer, but this voice was like, dance. And I knew what it meant. It meant, don't dance to work, don't dance to choreograph, don't dance to perform, dance for yourself. And that's my root. My base language is dance. But I never danced just for me, wild and free, and not to look cool and not to put on a show or something. So I went into a dance studio, and even in my own living room, the first couple times I was uncomfortable on my own. I even felt embarrassed by myself to look stupid and move my body in crazy, weird ways and make funny faces and just let myself go free and whatever the music made me want to do. I felt stupid by myself, and I realized the insanity of that. And then in that moment, this is when the groove method came to me. The groove method was literally given to me as a download while I was dancing. And it was this truth that came through me so strong, because that was it right there. The number one truth is, no one actually cares what you look like. And that's what hit me while I was dancing, because I looked around and I'm like, nobody gives a shit. Why am I so obsessed that everyone's looking at me and cares about what I'm doing and, or talking about me, which is what I thought all the time, right? Like, everyone's talking about me or whatever. But this intuitiveness that just handed this to me like a download, and I ran home and wrote down all the truths, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. And this is a moment that everyone on this call is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. This moment of this vision I had for this method, this dance method, the way of getting people moving again. And I saw this huge vision of me teaching all around the world, literally tens and millions of people dancing and together and helping heal the planet and bringing people back to their roots of movement and dance and authenticity and creativity. And it was just this huge, I saw my master trainers, I saw this whole, and it's just me. It was little old me. And this was right after I quit my job, because after I kind of woke up and shifted my consciousness, my gut was telling me, you can't live this life anymore. So I quit my job, I went bankrupt. So I started dancing again after all of this. So I didn't know what I was going to do. And then this voice, after I saw this huge vision, that intuitive voice hit so hard and said, trust. You have not been given this for nothing. Trust it. It will take care of you for the rest of your life. Now, again, it's not a voice, and it's not like I hear this, hello, Misty, talking in my, it's not like that. It's like just a knowingness, just like this knowingness comes over me. And I knew that was my intuition because it wasn't coming from my mind. It was coming from my body. It was coming from like my guts and my heart. It was just this knowingness of, and I trusted it. And I decided that I would. And I've made a commitment to myself that I only go with my intuitive voice. But it took a while to do that because because I was this, now Nike found me, and then I got this contract that's like literally the wheels were greased. Like when I surrendered, wheels were greased. Like Nike put me on stages. My students all started to, ask me about this. And I started to collect thousands of students around the world that were like, we want to learn how to teach this. And so then now I had to start teaching it. And then Master Trainer Team came about. I didn't have to look for anyone. I didn't have everyone that's on my team found me. And it's just this amazing, thing. And what's also really good is I had a negative experience with it too, because there was a point when I was traveling so much and working so hard, and I was trying to create the business and do all the marketing and promotions and travel the world and inspire everyone at the same time and try to create a website and resources and all of this stuff. And I was absolutely exhausted, and I was going to give up because I was like, I can't do this alone. Like now I don't like what I'm doing anymore. And it was because I was trying to do everything myself, which is insane. And this girl came along and offered to help me. And she's like, and she was all business. This girl was a worker, organized, got her shit together, loved my method, was like, let me help you. And I was like, cool. And there was always, and she did a great job. But the thing that was interesting is I always had this weird gut feeling because she was asking me questions like, Misty, I feel like I need to be listed as the co-creator of the method. And I went, and this darkness took over my whole body. And I was like, and I said, I appreciate the work that you're doing. But you did not create this method. Like you authored my method. She helped me transcribe it and help me do all this. But she's like, I believe that would give me as co-creator. And I was just like, but I knew she wouldn't do the work without, she needed the power. And I was like, and for me, it wasn't about that. It was more about, let's just get the work done. We need to get this out there. And if that's what you need so that you'll work and you feel appreciated and seen, I will give you that. But you have to know, I told this right in your eyes, it's not true. And you have to know that it makes me feel really ugly to do this, but I'm going to give it to you because it's what you need, but it's not right. And it's not right. In about a year and a half, she had stolen my entire company from me. And my trademark, my copyright of my material, my website, my logo, everything. So that was a moment when I really didn't trust that voice. And that was the loudest it had ever been. I remember that day. It was like a blackness entered my body. And I knew then something wasn't right. And but I was so tired, and I just let it go. I just need the work done. I got to keep going. And she seems to be doing great work, even though I never received $1 while she was managing the business. And so when she took out everything, I had to start over. I had zero. I had nothing. She had the bank accounts. She had everything. So this is what I mean. It's like when you don't listen, that shit's going to bite you in the ass. It's going to get you, and it's going to come out somehow. And the thing that's crazy is everyone out there even knows this. Those moments when you didn't listen and you regretted it, and you're like, fuck, why didn't I listen to that voice? I knew that was going to happen, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it was ugly. Whatever it was coming was not pretty. And but then after that, I'm just like, nope. And then I went and hired all these business coaches because I don't know how to run a business. I don't know shit. Like I'm like, I'm just I'm making this up as I go, and and I wasn't failing, but I knew that there's things I didn't know. And so I decided to invest a bunch of money and hire all these business coaches and all this stuff. And through that process, what I realized is that I have to do it my way, and that my intuitive voice is far more powerful and will guide me to what I need to do and the choices I need to make better than a coach. Now, that doesn't mean don't take coaches, because some people really do need coaches, but getting a coach turned me back into, Misty, you don't know business, but you know your intuition. And I've made business decisions that people would be like, I cannot believe you've done that. But it ended up being this is what I mean, these things that I do that when I trust my intuitive voice. So ever since that moment, and all that's happened since then is my business has just exponentially exploded, and I've received more and more help, and I work less and less.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I love your story. I mean, I've heard it just not to that detail, and it's so powerful. And I notice every time we connect, I feel a sense of ease. And I know most people do. And I know people feel that with me too, because when we're connected to our intuition, the body feels ease. It feels like talking about, you're not worried about people judging you because you are actually it. You're full. Right? I get at the beginning, your mind is like, oh my gosh, are people thinking about me? But your intuition doesn't care because it already knows. Um, and I just love what you shared about your story of not following your intuition. I had an experience a couple weeks ago, very similar to yours, where there's this darkness that came in, almost like knocked me off. I got really sick for almost a week, and I had to say no. And I mean, I kind of knew too, and I kept, and I had to trust my intuition. But I got so sick, and I did actually say no to that eventually. But it's fascinating to hear that. And I do think you're right. We all do know, and to trust ourselves. So if you feel darkness, if you sense darkness and it's not right and you know it, just say no. It's like say no to drugs, right? Like it's like that kind of like, you don't have to. And you can trust yourself. It's funny, right before we went live, Misty, I had that message as well. Trust, just trust. Because I love, it's like, your intuition, love has already paved the way before you if you just listen. And so you're sharing how you've done that, right? And like people come to you, you don't try. It's just this attraction, right? That people feel it. They feel calm, they feel ease. They're like, oh, I like this person. Oh, what she's saying feels good. I'm going to move towards her. Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, yeah, that's absolutely true. Like, and it's like having a superpower. But what's really interesting is when we use the word trust, or when we use something like this, like intuition, and then someone's working towards really developing and nourishing that relationship with their intuition, and learning how to tune into it. And then to say trust, what is it that you're actually trusting?
Mhm.
Now, I want to put some power behind those words, because the power behind those words is, when you think about it, the what you're trusting is what created you. And I don't have children, but I can imagine what that's like to have a child, and how much you would love that child. And anyone that does have a child, that you want that child to be happy, you want them to be abundant, you want them to have their wildest dreams fulfilled, you want them to be healthy and happy, and just in every way. And so I can only imagine what created us has exactly the same. Like, it's just us getting out of the way. So there's a couple things that I use in my life. Is number one is, I know that life's got my back. God's got my back. Whatever created me has got my back. Whatever created me did not create me to fail. Whatever created me did not create me to suffer. Whatever created me loves the shit out of me, and is just waiting on the edge to just push over an avalanche of abundance, to give me everything that I want and desire. I just have to allow it. And I know that my only work, if you really want to tune into your intuition, is your only work in this world is managing and nurturing your inner world. Because when you've gone into your inner world, and you've nurtured your inner world, and you've created practices in your life that help calm you down, so that you can hear that voice a little louder. Because if your life is loud and you are busy running around, that voice is still talking to you, but it's harder to hear it because you're busy with other things. So the first step is, number one, if you don't have you don't, you're like, I know that voice, I know the yes, I know the no, I know it, but you're not really tuned into it. I highly recommend that, finding whatever those practices are within stillness. Like, dance is, for me, like, the moment I put that music on, and I disappear into creative bliss land. And why dance is so important, and why those of you that, if you do dance or you don't dance, I highly recommend that you do, because it is it's even more powerful than meditation. Because meditation is one thing, it's beautiful, and it kind of quiets the mind a bit and calms you down. But when it comes to dance, you've got the music, which actually entrains your brain, which is awesome. It starts to harmonize the hemispheres of your brain. Listening to music is one of the only things that does that. Well, and also, like, deep states of meditation can do that as well. But it harmonizes, so that's an effortless thing. You don't have to even think about it. You're not having to focus on harmonizing the hemispheres.
Yeah.
It's happening for you. Ding, ding, ding. You already won one, which is great. And so when the brain is harmonized, it's a more peaceful thing that's going to allow more information to flow. Mm-hmm. So just think about that. And not with that, but then when you're dancing, you're now connected to your creativity. And your creativity is the force that created the universe. Like, it's the creative force that's moving through you, that creates, that's wild and free, that births babies and just whatever. That's the energy you're connecting to. So you're going into alignment with your highest self, your creative, authentic, fully expressed self. And then third of all, you're doing it with your whole body. So where meditation is a very mental thing, and maybe even in the heart, some sensation feeling thing, dance is your full spirit, your full body, fully engaged. And then it is so powerful when you are letting your body move creatively, you're breathing, you're letting the music take you away. You are now a beacon, a freaking antenna to receive information. Whenever I have a problem, whenever I have, like, if there's something I just don't know what to do, music, dance. And it just comes in such clarity, such peace. It's like, and then I know exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
I have to try to figure it out.
Right. It just feels right. And it's moving you. You know, that life force within you is literally moving you because you are allowing it, you know? And my sense is, you know, your body groove movement, it just opens up more of that life force energy. It allows us to feel even more. That's, like you said, just waiting to burst, to just like waiting to be set free. Like, please listen, like, give me a voice, let me be, you know, and that is perfect. You know, you are perfect in your expression. And I think that's what's so beautiful is, you know, the self-love piece was the other point that I really feel, sometimes I feel we learn by contrast, right? And so your soul or whatever part of you created this experience to actually move you into deeper self-love, to realize, wait, I don't have to hate myself anymore. I can love myself so I can be that conduit of love and share that. And I think that's a really key piece to attune in to that frequency of your intuition. And sometimes you can hear it as an inner voice. And my advice for that is it will also resonate with your body. So if you have an inner voice speaking to you, it'll be loving, it'll be kind, and your body will like say yes, it'll resonate, it will feel good. So trust that, you know, because I hear a lot. I'm very clairaudient, and it's like, okay, when it feels right, it's right. And you know it. I think you mentioned that word a lot, knowing. You just know it. And to me, it's like truth within you. It's your soul within you. Like you said, it's like it loves you so much. It's infinite love. So when you listen to it, it can actually break through and transform any of those beliefs that you were taught and what you were considering 3D, right? Because it knows the truth. Like, part of my process is go to your intuition with whatever beliefs you got going on, because the truth is they're not true. You know, like, whatever it is about dance, your work, yourself, your relationships, whatever, like, most likely any negative belief, if it's not aligned with love, it's probably not true.
Yep.
So you can change it. You know, you just drop into your intuition, connect to the knowing, and ask, what is true? And you imagine how much better you feel from that place, you know?
Well, we do. We lie to ourselves all day long. I mean, you know, 80 to 90% of your thoughts every day are the same thoughts you think every day. Like, and you mentioned love and loving yourself. And that is, and I know this is one of the hardest, this is the hardest road to walk, is the path to really, truly loving yourself. And most people don't know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. It sounds really pretty, sounds really lovely. Hey, love yourself. Hear that shit all the time. Love yourself. Love yourself. Yeah. My attitude, go fuck yourself. I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't even know what that, like, okay, do I just sit there and go, I love you, Misty. I love you, Misty. Like, I didn't know, like, I had no person in my life that showed me an example of what self-love. I didn't know I don't know how many, like, I didn't know a person that loved themselves. I don't know what that looks like. So what hit me when I started to try to this path was this again, said, maybe you can't love yourself right now, but you do know how to be nice to yourself. You do know how to be kind to yourself. And if you ask yourself every day, what would today look like if I was going to be nice to me first? What would my day look like? And I promise you, if you start just asking yourself that question every day, what does it look like when I'm nice to myself? Like, what foods do I eat when I'm being kind to myself? What type of movements, what type of conversations do I have when I'm being kind? How do I respond to life when I'm being nice? What do I do, with my day when I'm being nice to myself? Do I take myself for walks? And so then I started to get into this whole thing where I just started being nice to myself. And then I started to go, okay, well, let's take it a step further. Like, what if I was really starting to be nice to myself? And I was like, well, then I'm going to start to date myself. What would it be like to take, like, what would kind of, and then I'd start to buy myself flowers. I would take myself out. And this was all on my own. Like, I was just like developing this. And it was amazing how this developed into this. You can call it self-love. And I can't say it's 100% of the time, all the time. It's not. I still get those shitty negative voices in my head that tell me bad things and tell me that I'm not good enough and all those, but I now have the tools to conquer them. I know what to do with those thoughts. And I don't let them take me down anymore, and I don't follow them. But the next step after that is I married myself. I actually put a ring on my finger and I tell death to us part, I'm going to be by your side. Like, I'm the one, I'm going to love you. I'm going to take care of you. I promise you, I'm going to be kind to you. I promise, like making those actual vows to myself. And that was really powerful. And so this is what I mean, that journey to loving yourself, you need to know what that looks like, or as far as like baby steps along the way to start that. And like you said, when you start this process of being kind to yourself and loving yourself, you are creating that environment that your intuitive voice is going to emerge, and you're going to become one with it, because you're tuning into you, you're taking care of you, you're loving yourself. Being kind to yourself is actually loving yourself, and showing yourself self-love. So those are little things that you can do to help develop that. If you're like, oh, I don't know, like, that sounds really pretty, Misty, love yourself. And I says, yeah, whatever, like, and so that's where I had to work from, with self-love, so that I could actually start to flex the muscle and prove and show the universe, I'm here. Maybe I'm going to love you as much. I'm going to at least attempt to love me as much as you do. Like, right. And be that love. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm not 100%, but I do know that the practices and the things that I've put into place have brought great peace, guidance, and clarity in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I just go back, it's like that self-love is like the tuning fork to that higher universal mind coming through, right? And so then you just become that channel, right? And so I love that you said, the thoughts can come through, but you don't follow them. So it's just kind of like, all right, it's like a car going by and you're just like, okay, that's going. Like, I don't really need to get on that one, So it's like, it doesn't have to have the power over you. And when you become so full of your own presence, that presence, it almost like nullifies that negativity, right? It becomes, it is you, right? That presence of love, of your spirit. And so to me, that's the ripple, that's the vibration that people are feeling. And they're like, ooh, I want more of that. That's the attraction, I really feel,
It's beautiful. That's
yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And that's the thing, is it's even in the little things. Like, I even notice, even because it's the little things I don't listen to. It's the big ones I do. Like, I realize now it's even like, I'll be like in the kitchen getting ready to go somewhere, and there'll be something on the counter, like, I don't know, an umbrella or whatever. And I look at it and instantly my body goes, take that with you today.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look outside, it's sunny. I just like, whatever. And I just, no, those little, and it's all the time. And every time I'm like, Misty, you were told this morning. That's exactly like, now look, and it happens all the time. So it's still this daily practice of, it's funny because it's telling you everything. I've actually used my intuition to find my keys once. Yeah. And I lost my keys and I sat in meditation and I just said, show me my keys. Yeah. Show me my keys. Where are they? Yeah. And I sat there for about 3 minutes and they just appeared. I knew exactly where they were. I was like, oh, interesting. But it's having that time. I don't always have that time. Sometimes I just scramble it. I'm late, gotta run. But this is what I mean. It can be used in so many ways. And like you said, it's learning to feel the yes and to feel the no. Right. Like, and we know what that means. The yes is expansive and feels good and it's open and it's, might even feel tingly. And the no is contracting and just this, and it can be even in the smallest things.
Yeah. Wow. It's funny. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was out in meditation and I just knew I had to meditate because I was like feeling overwhelmed. There was somebody staying at my house and I was like, ah. So I sit under this tree and I literally, there's this beautiful Buddha statue that my best friend gave me. And in that moment of meditation, I actually became that statue. Like I saw through the eyes of that statue and I watched that person leave just for the morning, right? Just because I was like overwhelmed. But I literally am telling you this because you can start to see clairvoyantly when you drop into that meditation, your intuition is showing you what's happening in a certain space. So I knew that person was leaving. Your intuition can show you where your keys are. Your intuition can show you the next steps. So when you get quiet, you actually move. Wow, it's so amazing. So last night, obviously I meditate a lot. My guides were like, lift your gaze up, because when you do, you see above the situation and you can actually see like beyond the drama and the emotions to what is there for you, to what is really happening, right? Because sometimes we can get wrapped up not only in thoughts, but in emotions. Like we can get upset about something. But if you lift just above to this higher frequency of light, so you move into your heart, you drop into your gut, and then you lift above with that third eye, you can see. And so I think part of the reason we're so connected, Misty, is our love for the world, like that one love, right? So years ago, I was seeing these visions of these kids and they had these darker skin. We were building stuff and I was like, whoa, okay. And I just noticed and I saw the wellness center. I saw it all. Well, within like 10 years, I started following those visions and they became reality side by side, these kids, you know? And so, you know, we just help them save their building. And like, you're around the world, and I want to hear where you've been lately, you know, with all the people. So we're connected to this higher frequency of love. And you might even just want to tap your heart and feel that universal language of love. Like we are all connected by love. And when you lift up to that higher frequency, you can perceive and know a truth beyond what you think and beyond those like negative lower emotions, right? Because I believe our feelings guide us, because we can feel, that's not right to go there, you know? You can feel the darkness, but you also don't want to like let them take you down, right? Because there's some examples like, you know, you can feel fear and you're like, man, like I'm afraid to do this, but I know I need to, versus like a fear of like, nope, that's just not right, right? So you have the discernment. Is there anything you want to add to that? Because that can be a tricky one, right? It's like, you know it. I think go to your knowing, right? Go to the truth. But yeah, did you want to share anything else?
Well, it is. It's like, and someone just wrote, why is it they're so often taught not to trust our intuition, and just like, and that we don't, of course, they don't want you to trust your intuition, because someone that's tuned into their intuition can't be controlled.
Oh my God.
Like,
Oh,
you can't.
Yeah, I've had so many times when I go to other countries like Bali, Thailand, people like I was empowering the kids, right, to follow. And sometimes the actual religion, I would feel like people sending me like darkness, like trying to push it down. So, and even now in my life, I notice like there's like this energy of like, ooh, wow, you're really empowering everybody to know within. Therefore, they don't need, you know, the external control or power. So, you know, if you feel that's like, I really have to have that protection up, because I do know, we all know deep within us, there is the answer. Like you are your own business coach, right? I mean, the course I teach, it's like how to activate your intuition for yourself to become that for yourself. Like I give you basic structure, but like, you know, because it can actually be confusing. I mean, I've had business coaches, I've had colleagues and business coaches for the longest time tell me to raise my prices. And every time I start, it doesn't quite work, because the alignment is based on service. My intuition is like, nope, this is the price. So it's not like if somebody gives you some outside advice, until it aligns with you, do not take it, no matter who they are, truly, because you know, and so it's trusting that feel good place within you. That is love. That is a lean in, you know? What else, Misty?
And also like trusting that we're all so uniquely different, and that the way that we receive, the way we connect, the way we feel is all very different and unique. And that, you know, it's like, that's what I teach in my method. The foundation of my method is don't copy me. You've got to figure it out. You've got to do it your own way. Yes. And when you do it your own way, it's now the right way. It's not someone else's way trying to manufacture it and regurgitate it. Yeah. You're actually doing something authentically your own way, and then you cannot fail.
Yeah.
You can't. Like, You can't. Like, and that doesn't mean, oh, the road is so easy and you're never going to be challenged with anything. It's like, well, we'd be bored if we didn't have challenges. We're always going to be challenged because we just need it. So even along this path, even though my wheels have been greased and it's been constant expansion, that doesn't mean it's all, peaches and roses. It's like, and again, at the end of the day, you wouldn't want it to be, because then you're not challenged. You don't get to look at yourself. You don't get to have things reflected back on you to see more about yourself and your own evolution. And I always look at it like that. Like we all have this kind of altruistic, those of us out there that like us, we love everything and we love everyone and we want, peace and love and harmony and perfection on the planet. And this, yes, that's true. And if it was all love and fairy and roses, we would be bored.
Yeah.
We'd be bored to death. We need the contrast. The contrast is what creates the friction that actually makes things happen and makes solid matter. If we didn't have the positive and the negative charged particles banging into each other, we wouldn't even have solid matter. So that's what I mean. If we didn't have the contrast, none of this shit would exist.
Wow.
So we're part of nature. We're part of it. So the contrast is going to be there. It is what it is. But you can also say that every single thing in your life that was the worst thing that ever happened ended up being the best thing that ever happened to you. So it's learning how to shorten the time when some shit hits the fan and you just, and things are ugly, or something, someone passes away, or this, or, an illness takes up, something like my business was stolen, like these huge things that come in, and we have to really learn about who we are, and we have to really get down to the nuts and bolts. And when we overcome whatever that is, you look back and you're like, thank you for that moment. Thank you for that. Like I look back, that was the greatest blessing of my life, because my business would be a failure if that did not happen, because it made me stand on my own 2 feet. It made me, it made me learn about myself, fight for what's right. Stay true to the mission. This was given to me. I'm not going to give up,
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting that just don't think life is, it's all love and fairies. It's not. And that's okay. And like you said, the thoughts are going to come. But what I also like to think, and I say to myself all the time, is I am the boss of me.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand that and you learn that you're the only one that can be a warrior for your life, the champion for your life, for your consciousness, for your happiness, for your health, no one's going to do shit for you. Nobody. And you have to really learn to be that. For me, it starts with being a warrior for your mind, because most of what goes on in our life, the distrust, just all this stuff, I'm not good enough, are just, like you said, lies. They're just thoughts in your mind that aren't even true, but we let them take our power and they take our vision, and they squash our vision. But this is where you have to be a warrior for your mind. And when those thoughts come, you now have a choice. Am I going to go down that road? Am I going to feed that train? Or am I going to stop it in its tracks? And I'm going to take control of my mind. You have the power to do that. Everybody does. There's no one that doesn't. To take the power of your mind, take a deep breath and go, what is it I actually want to think right now? Because you could say pink elephants. I'm going to sit and just think about pink elephants. And just picture pink elephants in your mind. Like, I'm telling you, do whatever you got to. That's what I mean. You got to make the stuff up. It doesn't have to be some spiritual holy moly thing. It doesn't. Like, when I start getting into these bad things, what I do is I start going back into, okay, it just feels good to do nothing right now. It feels so good just to relax right now. It feels so good not to do anything right now. It just feels so good. Oh, this pillow on my head, just, oh, this is delicious. And just get into the present moment and shift your awareness, shift everything into, like you said, get yourself out of that frequency somehow. Because if not, it'll hook you. Yeah. And it always does, loves to. It'll hook you and it will pull you down and spiral you to the bottom. And we all know it's like you've got to catch it before it starts to spiral, because then it gets harder and harder to get out of it. Yeah. But you're the champion.
Wow.
Like, dun, 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 dun.
I mean, I don't know if you realize something so powerful you just said, but basically that if you are yourself, you cannot fail.
It's true.
That is so profound. If you're yourself, you cannot fail, because you are connected to the infinite source of God within you. And you are you, perfectly you. And even doing what you might consider a mistake by trusting somebody or giving somebody let's say a title that you knew wasn't right to give her, you still succeeded beyond what you expected.
Far beyond.
Right? So even, I love hearing this for myself, because I can sometimes be really hard on myself. It's even, whatever we're considering maybe a mistake is like part of our greatest success, right?
Absolutely.
Or whatever challenge, like you said, has come your way. So just, if you are yourself, you cannot fail. That is beautiful.
Well, it's one of my group truths. That's one of those 5 truths that I told you that came through that just hit me so hard that it was interesting, because when it hit me and it came through while I was dancing, and the moment I felt it, I don't give a crap what anyone thinks about me. And I was free, and I felt that freedom in my cells. Yeah. And so it wasn't now just something that I could say. This is something I felt in my body, where I'm like, I don't care what people think about what I say. I'm not going to live my life for anyone else anymore. But the third truth is that you can't get it wrong. That when you are yourself, and when you are unique, and you actually trust and you do it your way, you can be inspired by others, you can be coached by others, but as long as that coach is coaching you towards your path, your way, your creativity, your vision, and just helping you tune into it so that those answers can come through you, and they're not answering those questions for you, that those are in you, then wow, on your way. On your way.
Sailing. That's awesome. Yeah. Wow. I love it. So good. So good. Yeah. I'm just really taking a moment to let it resonate. Because like I said, when truth is spoken, you can feel it. Your body feels ease. It's like, you come like an aha moment, right? And you can just sink into that place of trusting yourself. And, the intuitive success coaching process that I created, it's amazing that we both created these amazing things, is it's actually from the same foundation, non-judgment. That's like one of the core principles for yourself or another. Because in my experience, when you have judgment, it blocks the flow. Like you can't get through to yourself. You can't get through to others. There's a separation. So when you have non-judgment and unconditional love, there's this flow. There's the connection. And from that connection, there's the manifestation. There's the results in your business and your life. And you're like, oh, what I want to create now. Okay, let's roll, So to add, dance to that, that's actually part of our integration, is to include dance. Like I said before, we need to talk about doing a retreat together, because it's like bringing it into the body. It's just like the full-on integration. You can know something, you can get the intuition, then to embody it and take action on it. That's the key. And then you're like, oh, I'm living it. How cool. And it's often a series of steps, and sometimes it's just one. And you're just like, oh my goodness,
That was easy.
Right? I know. Exactly. Totally. It really is easy. That is the other thing. If it's hard, that's the other thing you mentioned, is it's like, if you feel like you're doing it all on your own, one of the things I knew early on is it was always bigger than me. And so, my vision is bigger than me. It included other people. So it's like, I knew that it was about the interconnection. So if you find yourself feeling heavy, or like I have to take it on, or I have to try to make it happen, or I got to be this or do that, or have the right beliefs to have this, it's like, no, actually be yourself. Let go of judgment, open up to the connection, follow your intuition, realize there's all these people helping you. My success was because of tons of other people. I had mentors and teachers that were just like, you got it, let's go. They were just giving and giving and giving, because they saw my heart to serve. So when you start being yourself, people will be called to give to you. And you just say thank you, and you just keep giving back, because it's fun, It's just it's not hard. So, are there 3 keys you feel that you can offer? We kind of just gave them already, but to help people feel trust in their intuition? I know this. What can I do to trust and take action on it? It's just coming through in the moment. We've covered a lot, I know.
Well, it's kind of one thing that helped me, because, and I learned it, kind of somewhat from Abraham Hicks.
Okay.
But I have this, because I'm a dense person. I'm not airy fairy and whatever. I'm pretty I'm raw and real. I'm down here on the the heavy plane, dealing with the real, and there's a lot of spiritual people that are way up, in the ethers and I'm just not there. And so I'm not clairvoyant or clairaudient or any of those types of things like you are. Like, it's amazing. And like, that's what I mean. We're all unique and special, but I'm like this solid, dense, like, show me, you know, like I ain't believe in shit until you show me. Like, I'm just kind of like, you know what I mean? And like my consciousness came through my logic, like literally, like my awakening came through my logic because I deducted things. I literally like logically thought them through.
Yeah.
And that's why nothing made sense anymore. Because I was like, none of this shit is adding up. So what I like to do, and if you're someone like me that you're like, I just, you know, I know that voice, I do know it, but it's like, I'm still not like, I'm not so 100% sure. I don't know how to trust it. I don't know what I did. And this has helped me tremendously is like, I don't pray like, please give me this. And I'm so sorry and forgive me for this. And my prayer is like, God, I'm talking to like my badass mother. Like, you better fucking show me what I'm supposed to do. And you better make it so crystal clear. There's not a doubt in my mind that I know exactly what I'm supposed to do, and do it in the most lovely, gentle way, please. But I would really because if you're just sending me little like a butterfly flies by and I'm supposed to take that's like, oh, you're supposed to fly away and transform and do all this. I'm going to think like that. Not going to do it. So you better make these signals, my guidance. I need it clear. I need it direct, and I need it like, so there's no doubt in my mind, because I will use my mind to try to go out the other way and question it and go, well, how's that possible? If I do that, and then I go into my mind instead of just that voice. And so I always I command God, you just show me. You love me, show me. Show me, make it clear, make it precise. I don't want to doubt in my mind that this is and then I'm just given literally clear direction. And then I know, like, it's so clear, like, bam.
Yeah.
So that's something to help people with the trust, and that know that what you're talking to loves the shit out of you and wants to have that relationship with you and wants to communicate with you and wants to express through you and wants to support you and wants to, you know, assist you along the way. And it really is us just getting out of our own way. Like I said, manage your inner world. Manage your inner world. It'll help, which means, what does that mean? Manage your inner world. Sit for a moment every day and just see what's going on inside of you. What are you feeling? What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs? Are you upset? Do you feel anxious? Are you frustrated about anything? Like, just whatever that might, and how are you going to manage that? What tools are you using in your life to help manage your inner world? Are you meditating? Do you have breathing techniques? Are you dancing? Are you being in nature? You've got to find something, or are you painting? Whatever it might be. You know, some people like to clean and they get in the zone and they start cleaning and it's like their meditation. And this isn't even a joke. This is real. Like, this is what I mean by, you got to just figure out what it is for you. Like, you know, I'm that way when I'm around babies too. Like, when I'm around babies, the purity of their, like, the purest of purest, the closest, to be around that just puts me in a state of like, even though I know every person that is God in their form, but like the baby, it's like, it's the freshest thing that's come out, right? You know, even though there's no difference, it's like that feeling of like looking into their eyes. They haven't been programmed yet. They haven't been programmed to what to believe. And so I look into these babies' eyes and I get lost because it's pure. They don't have those thoughts. They don't have those thoughts. Those thoughts were programmed in. This is why that's why I use my logical mind, because that's logic. You look at a baby, they don't know what the rules are yet. They don't know that they're supposed to have a perfect body, or that they're supposed to be a millionaire by the time they're 25, and all the things they have to do and suffer to get there and live up to. They don't know any of that stuff. All they know is just whatever's looking back at them. Like, it's the most, and so that just, so, and also to go back to that childlike mind, like, who was I before I was programmed? Like, and what programs have I allowed in there that are holding me back? What do I believe about myself? What do I believe about the world? Do I believe that there's not enough? Do I believe, you know, that if I'm rich, that's going to take money away from somewhere? There's a lot of people out there that can't receive money because they don't have the belief that there's enough for everyone and in abundance, you know, these kinds of things. But if you look at nature, and this is again logic, go out in nature and see how nature just gives and gives and replenishes and gives. And you can burn a forest down, and in 10 years you have a new forest. Trees budding, fruit, like grow it with one seed. Look at the fruits that will come generation after generation. You can see a cement sidewalk, and that weed is going to push through that concrete and make it up. Like, I just look at nature and I go, we're part of nature. We're meant to thrive. Like, if we just, and you don't see plants struggling to, like, make enough money or whatever. They're just flowering and giving and flowering and giving and flowering and giving, and here you go. And it has its life cycle. Everything has a life cycle, but within that, it's like, just look at nature and how nature just wants to give us, and the abundance of it, and we're part of it.
Yeah,
part of it. Like, it loves us a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you are it, Part of the reason that this show is called Intuitive You is you are it. So you talk about like praying to God. It's like you're basically praying to yourself, the God within you, like that is just to trust yourself, to be yourself. I just think that is such a valuable key lesson, a reminder for the day, that it's like, and you are loved as you are, infinitely loved.
Yeah. Well, and that you are what created you. This is the thing that when I got this aha, and if you get this too, and you probably all get it, but when I thought, like mom and dad have a baby, and that baby can't separate it's still part of the mom and the dad. It is like, well, I'm part of whatever created me. It runs through my cells, it beats my blood, it breathes me. It allows me to digest my food and poop, and like, it just like, I'm not doing any of that. It's doing it all for me. And so when I logically tuned in, I was like, there's an intelligence running the show.
Yeah.
And it's much wiser than me, but it exists inside of me. It's not outside of me. It's in me. So all I have to do is tune into the innate intelligence of the universe is in every cell of your body. And this is why it's in you. There's nothing outside of you. It's all in you. And it's not worshiping yourself. It's worshiping the creator within you. Like, it's in you. And I worship myself too. That's another thing. But that's more ego. But it is just like that. Whatever it is guiding you is in you. It's not outside of you. It's not this force acting upon you. It's acting through you. Like, so just take that into consideration. Don't go searching for it. It's inside of you. It's right here, right now. And you don't have to be anything different. You don't have to change who you are. No. It's right here, right now.
I love it. I love it. So being who you are right now, I know that there's some beautiful ways people can start embodying their intuition more and also dance. So I want to invite everybody to go to lifeforceconnection.com, and you can download the free activation there. We also have Intuitive You coaching coming up tonight at 5 p.m. So you can go under classes, and it says Intuitive You coaching, and we have the certification program there too if you want to monetize your gifts. So the other thing that I really want to bring to everybody's awareness is Misty goes all over the world. She teaches us online, so you can actually download some of her work online. I'm going to ask her to share where you can get that from wherever you are. And she also, like I said, goes to these different countries, and just one of the most beautiful things is blending with other cultures, just having this experience of co-creation of miracles. So Misty, if you want to share where people can get that from you, where they can follow you, and if you have a retreat going on. And also, I know you're doing a really cool thing in Mexico with the new center. So if you want to just share a little bit about that, and we have like 3 minutes left. So
okay, so really quick, if you want to contact me, there's 2 ways. If you're interested in having the Groove dance floor experience, and you want to try it live, you can go to getgrooved.com, and there's a class finder there, and you can find actually Zoom classes and live classes. Now, if you just want to say, I don't know about her, I want to just take a little sampling of it. Let me see if this is what this is all about. You can go to bodygroove.com. Now, Bodygroove is my app, so you can dance with me on an app. If you want to test it first, just go to YouTube or whatever and just Google Bodygroove Misty, and there'll be a ton of free videos for you to try. And if you like it, then I have an app where I've got hundreds of meditation, stillness, stretch, dance, like it's got lots of yummy things in there. So that's how you can get a hold of us. And also all of our events are at getgroup.com. So the retreats that we hold, all that stuff you can get there. I know there's some stuff coming up in Florida. We just had one here in Mexico last week. There's one happening in Ibiza in 2 weeks. So there's lots of stuff going on. There's that. And the last thing you said, I wanted to add.
The
La, la, la,
center.
la, la, la.
The center.
The center. Yeah. So that's the super exciting for me, but I'm not really building a center. What I'm doing is I've a piece of property, another intuitive thing was just given to me as far as I didn't have to go look for it. It was brought to me and I knew it was the right thing to do to buy this piece of land that has a cenote, which is an underground water cave. And we are going complete like agroforest, which is like an edible forest, and off grid, completely solar water. Like I have unlimited water and we've got solar going, and now we're going to do the gardens and the greenhouses and have the whole system self-sustained so that those people in my family and friends, that there's a place of solitude and a place of refuge if
So cool.
depending on what things happen in the world.
Yeah, I love that. I just love that. Oh, thank you for doing that. So everyone check Misty out. She's absolutely lovely. Just so grateful to have you with us today.
Thank you, Abby. Thanks, Abby. You're awesome.
You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
Well, is there anything you want to leave the audience with today, like a mantra, any words of wisdom before we log off?
Yeah. Life loves you.
Life loves you.
Trust it. Sit every day and breathe in and feel how much life loves you. And that alone can change your life. That mantra changed my life. Life loves me. I even have it written all over everything. Life loves me. Life loves me. And believe it and see what happens.
So awesome. I love it. All right. Love you, lady. We'll talk to you soon.
Love you too. Bye.